Okay, so for the next half hour, everything that we say is going to be recorded on YouTube. So
Oh,
watch
no.
out. Don't say anything that you wouldn't want your future children to watch you say. So this coffee chat is on SLGs, which is short for selective living groups. And because I'm not in an SLG, I invited my friends slash friends of friends slash soon to be friends to talk about their SLGs. So it'll be fun. Brief intros. I'm Judy. I'm a rising senior. I'm going to be an RA in Wilson. And the whole point of doing these coffee chats is to make freshmen feel more comfortable coming in, be able to ask upperclassmen questions that they have regarding a certain topic, and also when you guys get on campus, download the app Walla. Actually, I think we're going to call it Walla Walla, which is an app where you can find what other people are doing and you can join on their activities. Yeah. Gabe, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Gabe.
Hi,
Um,
Gabe.
I am a rising senior at Duke, and I live with Maxwell. I was briefly an RA for a year in Epworth dorms, so if any of you are living in Epworth,
Ooh,
so
Monica's living in Epworth.
well, it's a cool community. So you can feel free to ask questions about that also. Um, and let's see. I'm really heavily involved in the Duke Marching Band, so if you're joining the marching band, you can also talk to me about that. I'll be the president for the upcoming year, and yeah, that's all.
Cool. Michaela?
Hi, so I'm Michaela. I'm from Langdorm, and I lived in Jarvis my freshman year, and I am an RA in Cohen 4A next year. So if you have questions about like West Res Life, I can answer that for later. My major is biophysics, and I'm a rising junior.
So if you're an RA in Cohane, you're not going to live with Langdorm, right? Because Langdorm lives somewhere else.
No, Langdorm lives in Cohen 4B, so I'll be right next door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
last semester I was an RA for Cohen 4E, so I'm just not allowed to be an RA in the same building.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember something like that came up when we were doing RA selections. Okay,
hmm
cool. Who wants to go? Oh, Noah, you should go. Oh no, no, you're having the same mic problems as you did last time. Like, try doing the only thing that I know how to do when it comes to technical issues. So, like, hang up on us and then just come back, and maybe that'll work. Meanwhile, Riel, you wanna go?
Does my microphone work this time?
Yes!
Oh my god,
Yes!
yay!
Yay! We have at least one person whose
Yeah.
mic works.
Hi, well, I'm Riel Kimbao.
Does it work now?
Yeah, it works.
Yes!
Yay! Okay,
See? That's
so let me get
genius.
this out before it stops working. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm Noah. I'm an incoming freshman. I think I'm going to be a neuroscience major with a Chinese minor, and I'll be in the cognitive neuroscience and law focus group in Randolph next year. And I'm doing P-Search, so that's just stuff about me.
Cool. P-Search. Who leads P-Search again? Do you remember your fearless leader's name?
I emailed somebody, and I think Helen responded. I don't
Helen
remember.
Murphy?
I have no idea. I'm sorry. Helen, if you're watching this, I apologize.
I think it's Helen Murphy. She was actually
Okay.
one of our coffee chats about dance.
Very cool.
Yeah. You lucked out. Helen's super nice.
All right, cool. I hope it's her.
Cool. All right, Riel. Sorry for interrupting before.
Hi, I'm Riel. I'm an incoming freshman. I live in Durham. I want to major in electrical computer engineering and computer science, and maybe a Chinese minor. And I want to join the SLG Langdorm or Fusion. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, that's perfect. Wait, because a Jason from Fusion is going to come in a bit. Wait, we have your crowd. That's okay. That's awesome. So, do you guys have any questions to start us off with?
Ria, you could go first if you want, if you have a very pressing question.
How does rushing work for SLGs? Is it the same as like the Greek fraternities and sororities? Or I don't
So
know.
I'll take this one. So it's different from fraternities and sororities. All three are different. It's much more similar to fraternities. So the sorority system is more or less you have these day-long gatherings, and there'll be like 4 or 5 of them over the course of 2 weekends. Fraternities, they happen during the week and on the weekends, and it's like party-oriented, and that's only 2 weeks long. The SLG recruitment is actually 3 weeks long, so we do a week longer than the fraternities and sororities. You don't have to be on campus early in the spring. Right, that's the other thing. I don't know if you know, but we rush in the spring at Duke. So everybody rushes the first 3 weeks of the spring semester in January, and then bids are handed out at the end of rush. And every single SLG does it differently. And that's kind of what makes the SLG system really cool and unique is it's less stress and less pressure, particularly if you want less stress and less pressure in your rush process. You can rush a much smaller group or you can rush a bigger group, and everybody will be doing different things. And generally, the SLG rush tends to be less party focused. We will usually every house will throw some sort of a party at some point, but it's also really organized around getting to meet the members and focusing in on the themes of the dorm. Maxwell doesn't have a really overt theme, but a dorm like Langdorm, and I'm sure you can speak more to this, Michaela, but likely their events will be focused more around language and cultural interactions in that way. So it's a very fluid process, and everybody does it differently. Some houses will cut partway through the process, so there'll be, if you're more interested in one house, you can focus on that, and then there'll only by the end there'll only be the people who are really interested. Or some, for example, roundtable to one continuous rush event. So it really varies and depends.
Okay.
That's kind of the joy of it.
Yeah, for Langdorm we have events like you said, more culture based. So we'll have like a sushi night or like a salsa night. Sometimes we like to go off campus to like Cuban Revolution, so we get some like salsa dancers. What other events do we have during Rush? We'll have like a German event. Something we've started is creating like a day where members teach each other like a different language. So that's really cool too. Yeah, but there are some SLGs that rush like a little bit later than others. I think Jam rushes a little bit later. Some SLGs rushes are like only a week long. It really depends, and a lot of us will have info sessions in at the end of the fall semester, so you guys can like come to just see all of the different SLGs and learn more about us. And then in the spring, usually all of us have an open house, so we'll have multiple open houses, and people can or new students can just like go to each one of them, see and mingle, and see which like group of people that you click with. So I think that's like a lot of the SLGs, like the bigger ones, like Maxwell, Brownstone, and Roundtable, they don't really have a theme, but it's more of like the people that you click with. So I remember I went to Roundtable's open house, and I got to know a few of them, and a lot of them were really cool, but I knew from the start that it wasn't really the place for me, so I went to a different info session. So you have 3 weeks to rush, so there's no like hurry to really pick one until you get serious. So yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about your own rushing processes? I guess I can talk about mine too, even though I ended up not rushing any one of them. Miguel, you want to start?
So usually we'll have 2 open houses, and after that we'll start having events. We have events pretty much every single day, and they're all like culture based, and we don't really cut people. We just keep on having events, and we keep track of who comes, how often they come, how long they stay, and like which members get to know them. So towards the end, we email out an application, and And after you fill it out, we'll go through each of the members and kind of like all the members will talk about it, and we vote to see like who will be in the SLG or not. And it really depends for us on how much space that we have, because we can't accept members that won't live in section the next year. Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to know about Langdorm's Rush? More detail?
I have a question. How important, well, I was perusing through your past applications. How important is the write a telenovela prompt?
Oh, well, I don't even think we don't have them every single year. Like the questions change, and a lot of that was just kind of see like your personality. And some people get really creative with it and really silly, and other people are more serious. Like I remember we've had a question before that was about like if you had a first date with Langdorm, where would you take them? And a lot of the like we'll go through each applicant's answers, and we just like discuss about it. So a lot of the questions are more for us to like get to know you a little bit better, especially if we didn't get to know you during Rush. But other than that, I mean, usually how like your interactions with us during Rush are more important than your application.
Okay, cool.
I have a couple of questions specifically about Langdorm.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm interested in like doing the Chinese one potentially like later junior senior year when I actually know the language a little more. I was wondering what level of fluency is generally expected to be in Langdorm?
Well, Langdorm used to be split up into different halls. We used to have like a Japanese hall, Chinese hall, Spanish hall, and a French hall, and we'd have like other languages too that were smaller. But those were the main ones, and you kind of, there were events that were isolated for each hall, but we decided to abolish that system because it kind of separated Langdorm into a bunch of different sects, and we didn't really want that. So what we have now is we can offer you like different things based on the language that you're interested in, but we all have like cohesive events. So if we have a Chinese themed event, everybody can come, which is a lot better. And as for fluency, as long as you're willing to learn and you have a passion in the language and the culture, really that's all that you need. A lot of the members are, like we have a lot of international Chinese members or Taiwanese members that are always willing to help other people in their homework. And we have a lot of like Japanese, my roommate right now, I'm in Durham right now. My roommate right now is in learning Japanese, and a lot of the members are very open to like helping each other because we're all at such different levels. So, I mean, it's really, as long as you have like a passion for it and we can see it, like that's what's more important rather than you necessarily speaking the language, because some people that got in don't necessarily speak the language that they're passionate about yet, but they're going to take those classes. Like we understand that as a freshman, you might not be able to take some of the language classes you want.
Very cool. So housing and like rooming wise on the hall, is it like you said about more integrating the languages? Will like somebody going for like Chinese like be like living with somebody like doing French or Japanese? Is that how it works, or is it like Chinese, French, Spanish?
Really, no, I'm gonna stop you there because this is like because we have a lot of SLGs at Duke and we only have half an hour. So how about you and Michaela connect offline?
Okay.
And Riel, as like you as well, if you're interested in Langdorm, I'm sure like everybody who's watching or everyone who will watch this eventually, like Michaela is definitely open to talk with you guys. But like specific questions related to that dorm, let's keep it offline. Because we just wanted to talk about the SLG culture in general and like what an SLG is, etc.
Okay.
Yeah,
Totally forgot about that. My bad.
But feel free to contact me if you guys have any more questions about that.
Yeah. Hey, Annika, you finally found us.
Hi, sorry,
Hi.
my internet wasn't working. So
You're
just
fine. You're fine. You want to do a quick one-liner about
okay,
yourself?
so I'm Anika. I'm an incoming freshman from Bangalore, India, and I'm interested in neuroscience, but I'm completely undecided, so I don't know.
Okay, Cool. Yeah, so we just finished talking about the rush process for SLG. Let's talk about the general culture of SLG because I'm just trying to think back on like when I came to Duke at first, like what surprised me most about SLG is that they don't like write in the blue book or they don't tell you like in the brochures or on the tours. So Gabe, do you want to go first on this one? Because I know Maxwell is one of the bigger SLGs at Duke.
Yeah, so my favorite part about the SLG culture more than anything is that we're co-ed. And I think that is so important for a huge number of reasons. Nothing against the fraternity and the sorority system, but the SLG culture, having a co-ed culture means you get lots of really positive interactions and really diverse interactions, both between different genders, and I find that the SLG system also tends to be more inclusive socioeconomically and just general racial and cultural diversity. That's really cool, and it allows an enormous flow of ideas and conversations within the SLG. We do like a biweekly chat where we all get together in our common room and we'll talk about some relevant topic of the day, and it's just really cool to hear all the different opinions from so many different people and cultures and different genders and sexualities all coming together in one space. That's great. And being able to walk around campus and see those friends that you live with and that you've made, and some of them are friends that maybe you would have already had coming in, but then there are people who you may never have met who now you are extremely close friends with. My past roommates are that way. People I'll be living with next year are not people I would have met outside of Maxwell, but they are now some of my favorite people in the world. So just the community is really tight, and it's less. There's much less of the weird social hierarchy thing that gets associated with Greek life. SLGs kind of just live their own lives. We have our own communities and we stick to them and we love them, and occasionally we mingle and interact, but it's really just these very focused, they're really beautiful communities, I think.
Mm-hmm. If you don't see rainbows right now, you should. Michaela, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I decided to join or rush an SLG in the first place was because after freshman year, and I felt that in independent housing, especially if you aren't very extroverted, it can be kind of hard to meet new people. And a lot of my friends were all from Jarvis, which was my dorm freshman year. And I wanted to be able to meet new people, meet upperclassmen, and like see people of all different majors and what kind of opportunities they could like present to me, or just like how to get to know how to manage Duke better, I guess, getting a lot more different perspectives. So that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to rush an SLG. And like what Gabe said was right, the community is great. You'll meet so many people that you never would have thought to meet before. And like some of them, like, yeah, you might not like them as like so much at first, but a lot of times, like just by living with them, you grow to love them. We have like chats every single week or something like that, or just like different gatherings, different events, and a lot of them are not completely party based. I think that's really beautiful. At least that's to me is kind of what the opinion I have of sororities and fraternities is. I have quite a few friends that are part of them, and they seem to like have more of a pressure to like party and drink. And as a member of an SLG, I don't really feel that. Some SLGs are different than others. Some party more, and you'll know that once you get on campus. But there are so many different kinds of SLGs that if you want to join a community and rush for one, you'll find one that fits you.
I think so. I think there's a lot of pressure at first, like when you don't really understand how SLGs and Greek life works, which is like there are tiers that you have to be aware of, and everyone wants to be in the top tier. And so what Gabe and Michaela have been saying is that SLGs we don't have tiers. Hey guys, hey. So there's no tier that you have to be aware of, and the rush process is pretty much just like one big celebration on Duke campus in January, right? So like even upperclassmen like me, I'm independent. Hey, Eva. Like I don't rush anymore, and I don't belong to an SLG, but still every single January my friends and I will go out, and then we'll go like to all the parties and all the gatherings by these hosted by these SLGs. Usually there's a lot of free food, good music, and good conversation. So we still, like, as rising seniors, we still meet new people just by going to these different SLG open houses. And then it's easy to say this now looking back that I am really glad to have been an independent, because it's just like everyone has a different personality, and some people's personalities fit better in a particular SLG, and then other people's personalities fit better in like another type of SLG, or just living independent. So when I was a freshman, I rushed Roundtable, and I tried really hard to get into Roundtable because I thought this was the one for me. Like I have such great connections with all these people, and then when I ended up not getting in, I thought like my social life is over. Like all my friends would have been in Roundtable, and now they're not. And it ended up being being really good friends with a lot of people in Brownstone instead. And like at the time, I couldn't tell that it was like because my personality didn't fit Roundtable, and I wouldn't have enjoyed Roundtable if I had gotten in. Not because Roundtable is not anything less than amazing, but it's just like a certain group attracts a certain kind of people. So just go out there, and then like I said, there's no tier system. There's only like groups of personalities, and you will like naturally vibe with a group of people that have a similar personality to you. So I asked this question before, but I meant it in a different way. I said when you talk about your rush process, I meant like talk about your own individual rush process. So like what was it like for you guys, Michaela and Gabe, when you rushed these different SLGs, and why did you choose the SLG that you ended up choosing?
Okay, so I ended up rushing just because I had a friend in an SLG currently that had like told me about it, and I wanted to see what the open house was about. So that was my first experience with it. That was why I went to Roundtable's open house. But after that, rush can be a bit stressful just because you are like you still have school every single day, you still have homework to do, and a lot of the events do happen in the evening, and they're on a different campus than you guys. But really, like, you don't have to attend every single event. You still have to prioritize your school and your social life, and I think that really taught me a lot. So I think the rush process in general is like very helpful in learning how to manage your time, especially later on, like if you do join an SLG, how can you manage your time and also like attend these events and help plan and be part of leadership. So I would usually attend maybe like 3 to 4 events per week, and I decided to choose Langdorm because I just happened to hear that one of my other friends in Jarvis was rushing it, and I decided to go with them to an event, and I really loved it. So sometimes you just kind of stumble upon different SLGs, and one thing I think I would recommend is going to the open house the open house that's at the end of the fall semester, just to see like all the different kinds of SLGs, because that's something that I didn't really know, and I only knew the few big ones that were on campus, but there are really so many.
Yeah, just jumping in. So I'm actually going to be the incoming president for the group that does those open houses at the end of the fall. So yay, you will see my name come up in your Facebook page. So look out for that. In like November-ish. My rush process was it was a lot of fun. I rushed 2 SLGs mainly, Maxwell and Roundtable, and I tried to juggle them, and they both appeal to very different sides of who I am. Maxwell's a little more, I guess, party social is the way to put it, and Roundtable is definitely more intellectually oriented, I guess, which I think as a Duke student is like kind of a common twist in our personalities. And I was trying to figure out which one was right for me, and Maxwell just clicked. The people clicked. There's just, and going to events and being able to have free flowing conversation is what mattered to me most. And I didn't really know anybody going in. I didn't rush with anybody else from my dorm, which is pretty daunting. And you're gonna get a lot of that. People are gonna rush in groups of 3 or 4 or even more. And it was nice because there was no like awkward heartbreak at the end where some people get in, some people don't. It was cool to just go out there and do it solo. I'm like a fairly extroverted person, so meant I enjoyed it more. I will say that I know plenty of people who are more introverted, and they go to these, and it's not easy because you're expected to talk to people. Rush is not necessarily super fun all the time. It may be worth it in the end, but especially among the larger SLGs, there's so many people because there's so many spaces. It's because our dorms are bigger, that you can really get overwhelmed with the number of people, and that is definitely a part of it. So just keep that in mind, and it's not a bad thing if you're not enjoying Rush.
But in the end, it's enjoyable, right, Gabe?
Yeah, I'd say so. I loved it.
People are gonna like watch this live stream and like go running back to their moms and dads and be like, "Oh my gosh, rushing out
No,
some
no,
it's
I mean, we try and make it. So I was our Rush chair last year, which is awful, by the way. If you ever think about being a Rush chair, don't do it. But so everybody tries to make it as enjoyable. It's just the reality is sometimes it's hard to find those little tight spaces that I ended up loving more once I got in than that kind of disappeared a little during Rush.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions regarding everything that we said?
I do have a question about the living, but if Anika wants to go, I already
No,
asked.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, why don't you go ahead?
I don't think there's a lot of competition now.
Okay. So, are all of the SLG dorms like on central campus? Like, I'm just kind of confused of like, are they there? Are they on west or?
So they're pretty much scattered. So Maxwell and Langdorm are both in Cohane, which is a dorm on west.
Okay.
I know like Ubuntu and Jam, I think, are on central. There are a few others. Brownstone and Roundtable are on west, so they're pretty scattered. It's just like the fraternities and sororities; they're kind of like all over the place. But housing usually for SLGs, like we all live together. There are some I think that don't, but usually like for Langdorm we have an entire floor, and for Maxwell they have all of Cohane 4D. So it really depends on the size of the SLG, but normally you're all pretty concentrated in one area.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we answer your questions? Okay, so
I'm gonna just keep quiet because I don't know what you said before I joined. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Annika, you can talk to me anytime.
Yes.
As you have been, so I've got you covered. Yeah. So if you guys have any more questions after this, you can contact any of us. Obviously, I'm no help because I don't belong in an SLG, but like go spam Michaela's inbox and Gabe's inbox, and I'm sure they'll love you. And yeah. Okay. If there are no more questions, I'm going to stop this broadcast.